So this is my Dexter's Shed bee vacuum. I wanted something that was pretty universal to make and use. The only thing I've really made is the bottom box, which is what the Hoover plugs into. This is a Paynes polystyrene nuke. This is a Paynes polystyrene brood box made specially to fit on top of the nuke. And that's a Paynes travel screen. And by linking it all together and making a few alterations, we've turned it into a bee vac. And of course, I'm not going to test it out on real bees until I actually get a job to go and do. So I thought the nearest thing would be rice. So let's see if it picks up rice. We'll pretend that that's our swarm of bees. Okay, the individual parts of it. This is a swimming pool hose for cleaning out. 16 foot of this cost me £20. So we've got the travel screen, the Paynes cell. We've got the airflow adjuster there on that side. This of course is where your hose goes into, we can shut it off. This is normally just a meshed travel screen to allow ventilation. So we've put a piece of thin perspex in there, sealed it in. The whole lot is strapped together with a thin layer of silicone around the top of this box, so that when you compress it, it's airtight. And the vacuum cleaner is just an Aldi vacuum cleaner. It's for cleaning out log fires and coal fires. Just literally fits in there. So you've collected your swarm. Your bees are in this box with the frames in it. And this is for if you've got to do a cutout, you can then take frames with you with elastic bands, put the brood comb into the frames, fix it with the elastic bands, and then put the brood in the top part. Leave it overnight, and you get another call out in the morning. You just put a totally different polystyrene nuke on. The bees stay in the box, you don't have to take them out. So take the straps off. There's your Paynes travel top. It's got the mesh in it still. It's got a little bit of mesh on that side to stop the bees coming back out. There's extra airflow adjuster. And so that's your bees inward go in this one. And I also wanted, we've got this travel top. So once you've sucked all your bees in there, the bees are down in there like the rice. You leave the Hoover switched on, so that's still forcing or sucking air down. Take your Hoover top out, take your top off, and simply close that little cover there. Your bees are now safely inside a nuke and a nuke extender. And you could then put the original top back on, not this one of course, strap them two together, and you've got your bees quite happily go in the back garden, put them down, leave them there. next day you get another call out, put a totally different nuke box, polystyrene nuke box on. But yeah, that's the idea of it. So of course if you picked up bees, I'm going to have a small piece of foam where the movie camera is, just so that the bees don't hit the wood. They've got something a bit softer, but you leave this gap there so that they can spill out and spill over. Got air vents in the perspex. This is our flow rate adjuster. And then of course if you were doing a cutout, you'd suck the bees out first. The bees would all be down there. You'd leave them in there while you were dealing with the brood, or the brood comb, putting it into frames with elastic bands. You'd have a bee suit on anyway. You take the lid off. You've got stores in these rather than brand new frames. And then you'd literally take the top off and drop your frames in there with the brood comb out of their actual nest. Put your top back on and away you go. And this is a paynes nuke. It's on top. I'll just put normal frames in it for the moment, just while we tested it. So you put the blanking plate in. Also I used a cork to give me a good airtight seal. So of course once the bee's in there, you can remove your cork, put your travelling screen on and take them to where you want to go. So I'll say this took me yesterday to build. It's basically a box. Inside of it's all sealed with silicone, and then we've got a silicone layer running around the top just to give it an airtight seal. And this is made so that the box actually fits there around these feet. It gives it stability. Once it's all put together, it pushes in there quite well. Bish bash bosh. So you could just go and do a swarm that's a bit inaccessible. I do a lot of swarms on the underground where the bees have come down on the track and are in the actual ballast. You only get a set amount of time to remove the bees before they turn the power back on. So you're not in a position to put a nuke box down and leave it. With this, I'll be able to jump down on the track, plug the hoover into the extension, and hoover up the bees off of the ballast. Of course you'll have the top. And in that situation you'd put the frames on the opposite side of the box so that you've got an empty space. Yeah. Open up your hole. Put your top straight on there, and then hoover them up straight into the box when you've captured them all. If you want, take your hose out and close that up and leave it at that. Take the whole thing off and you've got your bees in the box there. Or if you wanted, leave your hoover plugged in, turned on so it's still sucking, remove your hose, take the top off, it's still putting a downward draft in there, and then you can close that opening up. The bees are then contained in the box, the swarm. Put your normal top on without the vents in it, strap it up and away you go.
Should I take the light off? No, it should be okay. There's quite a few there. It's probably, I don't know, 5,000 at least.
Dennis coming.
And they're not too bothered by trains going past. Thought I'd video it, just in case they eat me. They don't seem to put off by the fact that there's a train running over the top of them near enough.
So, that's my take on a beevac. Cost me in total, let me think, I suppose we've got to be looking at 50 quid. But for 50 quid, that will do me well in work. Things put under tension. Plug your hoover in. And there's a beevac. You want to control the air. Suction, we'll just move this over, gives us less suction so we're not damaging the bees. Seals quite nicely on there. Happy with that little unit. So this film was brought to you by Dexter's Shed.